Hi guys, happy live. It is Wednesday. Oh, sorry, my thumb looked so massive there. Um, it's Wednesday live. I am going to do my normal, which is my questions. So you guys can write in questions in the comments, or a lot of people will ask me throughout the week. So I will pick six to answer tonight. And also go over updates in real estate, what's happening in Toronto, as well as locally. And I'm actually not doing this on a selfie stick. I'm doing it on plates because the selfie stick is in my car, and I didn't remember till 2 minutes before I was supposed to go live. So I did not have time to go down in my condo, so we're on plates. So hopefully it works out. Hi Melanie, how are you? Okay, so if anybody watched on Monday, Morgan and Martina won. So thank you for everybody who nominated somebody for January's draw. And I guess it's not a draw because that would take picking somebody's name out of a hat. But March obviously is the next one. So all of February, you guys can nominate whoever you like in Simcoe County that you think is deserving. And we do video submissions or written submissions. When we first started, we were doing only video submissions, but now we do written or video. And I find that that helps people because some people are either shy or maybe not tech savvy and they can't figure out how to send a video or what have you. And it is up to $2,500 every month. So this past month we gave them each $1,250, but it could just be one family for $2,500. There's no set thing, okay? Hi Louise, how are you? Hi Nikki. Oh, sorry, my finger. Somebody said happy hump day. Oh, hi Melanie, happy hump day. Why does my finger look so big there? I guess it's because I do it on this side normally. Okay. Happy hump day to you as well. This week is weird. I felt like it was Friday yesterday. But anyways, yes, Morgan and Martina, super adorable and amazing people. I don't ever give people's personal information away, but they are incredible human beings. So I'm so happy that they won. So I will start first with a question from Matt and Brooke in Shanty Bay. And again, you guys can write messages or questions in the chat if you want, or I will just answer the people that I asked throughout the week. So Matt and Brooke from Shanty Bay, we live in an 80-plus-year-old home with 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. We get 1 bathroom is not ideal. We were thinking of having a contractor look if we could fit a small 2-piece where our washer and dryer is. Do you think we would get our money out of that renovation? Thank you, Matt and Brooke, for asking. I don't know if you guys just mean for you and like eventually down the road, let's just say you sell in 5 years, 10 years, etc. Will you get that money back? And if that is your question, then, you know, as long as you don't do something silly. I had a fellow, for example, he flew like this church pew thing from Peru back to Ontario, and he spent, I forget if it was $60,000 or $80,000 on some bathroom. You're never going to get that kind of back, but if you just do like a typical bathroom, but like pretty ceramic tiles, etc., then it'll come back. It's not like you're going to spend $8,000 and get $40,000, but you're not going to spend $8,000 and lose 20 either, okay? But if you were planning on selling this year, I forget, Matt and Brooke, then I wouldn't do it, because let's just say by the time you get a contractor and they're behind with things like picking stuff up at Home Depot and so forth, by the time you list, there's going to be so many other homes for sale that it's not even going to come out in the wash, because now there's more homes on the market. So now you're not in as much as a seller's, like you're not in as much control as you would be right now if you listed, as opposed to waiting that 6 to 8 weeks to do the bathroom, okay? So thank you for asking. And it's been forever, to be honest, since I filled out a job application. Hi Melissa, how are you? But I don't know if any of you remember filling out job applications, but they normally ask like, do you have a criminal record and do you have a high school diploma? So there's a fellow in California, he's like an industrial engineer, and he didn't like that basically when, you know, people are getting out of jail, they have to put that they have a record. And he felt that they were maybe not getting interviewed or getting jobs, and then they were more likely to recommit a crime. So he decided he was only going to hire people out of jail, and he started a company called Former, so like your former life or what have you, and all he hires is people out of prison. And he has one guy, he was in prison for 45 years, and what they do is they turn recycled, not recycled, but things from industrial buildings and garbage into furniture. And 3 of the pieces that this fellow helped him with that did 45 years in prison are now in art galleries, which is pretty cool. So one, he's keeping landfills, with less waste in them, and two, he's giving people a second chance. So I like that. Hi, Maddie. How are you? I'm glad. You know how last week, I think it was last week, you said you were glad you guys bought last fall. I am as well, because it'd be like 150 to 200 more now. So good on you guys for getting in when you did. Our next question comes from Joel in Phelpston. Joel in Phelpston said, I know the market's crazy right now, but aren't most closing dates 1 to 2 months? I don't want to move until September. When should I list? Joel, so one thing that's, awesome about right now, there's obviously multiple things because there's multiple offers oftentimes, so you get usually a lot above asking. But when the seller's in control, because they have all these offers, because there's lack of inventory, they can pick what closing date they want. So often the buyers will go with whatever closing date the seller wants. So if that's September or December or whatever, obviously not as common as like an April, May, or June closing. But if they want the home, then they're going to go with whatever closing you want. You could always wait until, June or May or what have you. There will be more inventory at that time. So I can't say what your home value would be. Let's just say right now it's 6. I don't know if it's going to be 550, for example, then, or I don't know, just because COVID, I could tell you in regular markets, but COVID's a bit different, so I don't actually know. But yeah, right now, let's just say last night, for example, we had 12 offers on the home that we were holding offers on, and 3 of the people put blank, so we could write whatever date we wanted in there. So that is really good and a good option for you if you, say, for example, had a new build ready in September or something, just so you could take advantage of the no inventory now, just because it won't be no inventory all year. It'll still be a lack of inventory throughout 2021, but not as extreme as it is right now, okay? But thank you for asking. I'm sure everybody knows Bernie Sanders and his picture of him with his mask and his gloves, sitting with his legs crossed. So he took advantage of all the memes and all the basically everything being spread across social media about him. So he quickly opened a merchandise website, and he put like sweaters and mitts and so forth. And in the first 5 days, he has raised $1.8 million for charity. They sell, like I said, the mitts, mitts, sweaters, basically even t-shirts just with a picture of him sitting like that. And it's gone to 2 of his charities. So one's like a seniors advocacy program, and the other one is Meals on Wheels. And then there was a lady that crocheted a little doll of him sitting on a bench, and it went on eBay, and it sold for $20,300, and she donated it all to Meals on Wheels as well. But yeah, I just like anybody that thinks outside the box, especially when giving back to charity. So that was cool. So the next question is from Jill and Barry. Jill and Barry, I'm a single mom and want to show my daughters how to stand on their own 2 feet. They're teenagers and don't think I know what I'm talking about. Do you have any advice? Thank you, Jill, for asking. Can be a stubborn age for sure. When I had like my little sister or whatever, she's now 24, but I used to like show her things when we were going out. So say we go out for dinner and I'd show her, I'd say, okay, this cost 4 hours at minimum wage and you just ate it in like 4 minutes, or I'd say, let's just say she wanted tattoos, and the full sleeve or whatever was $3,000. I'm making up numbers. I don't know how much tattoos cost, but at the time she was telling me. And so I would say, okay, you could spend $3,000 on that, or you could save, and I would show her what she could do in real estate. I know some teenagers will just roll their eyes, but I found like the little things, like just showing, okay, when we go to the movies, the $64 for popcorn and these cherry blasters and blah blah blah, and obviously your tickets. How many hours that was of her working. She was like, oh wow, that's a long shift to work just to get this little bit. So it kind of put it in more perspective for them. But I would just show them that, and then even real estate, how much it goes up on average. Because if, for example, they had $10,000, 2 18-year-olds, and they both had $10,000, and one bought a car, for example, that was worth maybe $2,000 or $3,000, 3 years later, and then the other one now has a home that's worth, obviously depending on the market, 80, 100, whatever, thousand more 5 years later. Obviously it's a big change, right? So that's what I just found was helpful with her. But thank you for asking. I hope everybody's having a good week so far. It's almost Valentine's Day, which is also Family Day weekend. Okay, I have one more thing before I do real estate. So they, often say like the dogs are the only animals or whatever that love their owners or people more than themselves. And in Turkey, they recently found that. So there was an owner and he got taken away in an ambulance, and his daughter was holding the dog, and the dog got free and chased after the ambulance and followed it to the hospital. And he waited outside till like nighttime. Then he went home and he came back the next morning, and he did that for 6 days. And then eventually, when his owner got out 6 days later, he was obviously there. So I just thought it was cute because I love puppies and it just shows their love. So I just like that. So now, real estate stuff. You guys are quiet today. Why is everybody so quiet? Okay. So real estate stuff. So obviously buildings and apartments and condos, etc., get built all the time. But I don't know if you've ever heard of this, because I doubt you have, because it hasn't happened. There is an all women built apartment building that's going in Vancouver, and by an all women team. So the lady is Carla Guerrera, I'll probably say that wrong, and she's the founder and CEO of a company called Purpose Driven Development, which is not all women, but she's built over $1 billion worth of buildings, some in Toronto, some in Vancouver, all in Canada. So this is her first all-woman project that she's doing. So she bought a 21 unit building. She's tearing it down and building a 13-story building with 135 units. Half of it is going to be, it's all going to be rented, but half for people with subsidized income and half for regular, but they have to be women's names on the leases. They can't be men, because she just wants to help women that maybe haven't had the greatest start in life, or maybe are getting out of toxic relationships, etc. So I thought that was cool. So non-Toronto properties, so not counting downtown Toronto, okay? Non-Toronto properties in the outskirts of the GTA, the average in January 2021 was 1.32 million, which just beat the last record, which was in January of 2017, okay? So not in downtown Toronto, because we would expect those kind of prices, 1.32 for a detached. However, there are townhouses for that. But when I think of 1.32, I think of Toronto. But now the GTA's average detached is 1.32, which makes sense why Simcoe County's is going up so much, because obviously it's getting more as you get out. So they're now 1.32. They used to be around 6 figures. Now they're 7 figures, again, which is pushing us upwards as well. And basically, people, like with COVID and so forth, they've been rethinking their condo life. And then with low interest rates, etc., they're taking advantage and moving north or east or west, depending. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, so the Toronto detached houses are on par, so they didn't like fluctuate much up or down. But obviously outside did skyrocket, because I mention that every week how much we're up. And basically a lot of people, when I said they took advantage of the low interest rates, a lot of people also said they're moving back to like where they're from. So they said maybe be closer to family, closer to, high school friends, etc. But they also said they wanted to, it was a survey done. They said they wanted more space and functionality of the space. So that's what a lot of them are doing. And condo sales are down. Hi, Sherry, how are you? Condo sales are down in Toronto. So they're down. So January 2021, they're down 28% over January 2020. 20%. So I don't mean that the average sales price is down 28%, just the number of condos sold, okay, is down 28%. So last year there was just over 18,247 to be precise, but 18,000 and change condos sold. And that's the lowest it's been in the past 7 years. And then of new builds, there was just shy of 18,000 that were built in 2020, whereas in 2019, there was over 25,000. So, less were sold and less were being built in 2020. And then in the last quarter of 2020, there was 4,642 condos sold, and that was 43% less than was sold in 2020. So, 2019, the last quarter of 2019, okay? So 905 area codes just 905 area codes, their average sales, their average sales was up, the amount of condos sold was up 23%. But 416 and 647 condo sales were down 4.6% over 2019, okay? And although Toronto condo sales were down. 905 area code sales were up over 9%. Okay. Hi, Rodney. How are you? Um, and so at like basically New Year's Eve of 2020 going into 2021, there was 3,232 condos for sale, which was 174% more than the prior New Year's Eve. So there's just way too many condos for sale. And that's kind of what's affecting prices and obviously the amount selling. And don't worry, I won't talk about all condos. So somebody asked me, will the housing market correct? So like different economists have all said there's like a couple bank rate holds or whatever, and they're like, oh, it's going to correct. But economists are saying that it's not, and they're saying because of three main things. Okay, so they're saying one, low interest rates, two, lack of inventory, which also falls into the lack of how fast the builders can build new homes, and three, people with good jobs. So Sherry, if you're still watching, for example, they put you in the good jobs. So they put teachers, they said police, fire, nurses. So they said that they average, I don't know if I missed one that they said, but no, I didn't. They averaged, hi Sam, how are you? Sam moved out east. So they said they average 100,000 a year. So they said if they get with another, husband or wife or whatever that averages 100,000 a year as well, obviously they're making 200, 200,000 a year, which on average will let them buy an $800,000 home, not even home, have that mortgage plus whatever their down payment is, because their payment every month will be about 3,200, so it leaves them with 9,000 extra every month. So they just said, again, lack of inventory, lack of new builds being able to keep up to the amount of people that need homes, and the low interest rates plus the people with the good steady jobs is not going to let the market correct. Hi Junior, how are you? Hi Sam. Okay, so that is about that in those jobs. So, and then people said about like, what about all the people that have rental properties and so forth? So, one of the Bank of Canada reports that they put out said only 6% of mortgages that they actually hold are for rentals. And so they said because of only the 6%, 5% of them either had to qualify with much stricter guidelines and or put down 20% minimum. And then so it only left 1% to possibly have to sell. But they said if that 1% had bought more than 5 years ago, then they have enough equity that they're fine if they had to lower their rent, etc. So it's not like, oh, suddenly they have to dump all these properties, okay? Because a lot of people ask about that. Hi. I just randomly see people come on the side that say hi. Okay, on a side note, if you guys have a boatload of money, apartment buildings are softening in price. So if you want to buy like a 40 unit or 100 unit apartment building, they are softening in price, and then they're expected to go back up once the vaccine is everywhere. So if you have a lot of money and you want to do that, you're welcome to do that. Also, obviously, once international students come back and immigration is back to full swing, which is supposed to be the 400,000 a year this year, it's supposed to go up. And then another trend that we're seeing is commercial properties doing short leases. So normally a commercial property would rent for 3 years or 5-year term minimum. And now they're doing like 6 months term, a year term, 18-month term, 2-year term. 2-year term is like the max, because basically the commercial the commercial landlords don't want to lock in for 5 years at say a lower rate because maybe a vacancy. So they're like, okay, we'll do cheap for a little bit, but then they want to go back to normal. So you could possibly get a cheap commercial space right now, but you can't lock in for 5 years most likely, okay? Thanks for the love, Justin. All right. So I'm reminding people about the March giveaway again. So on the first of every month, we give $2,500 to someone or multiple people to pay their mortgage or their rent. They do not have to be a client of Cripps Realty. They don't have to know who we are whatsoever, which neither of the people that won this past weekend did. She's like, I've never heard of you, which is totally fine. Her niece nominated her, who also is not a client of ours. So you do not have to be a client of ours. You don't even have to live in Simcoe County. Just the winner has to live in Simcoe County, and they have to be over the age of 18, okay? But you could nominate them from Thunder Bay or from Newfoundland there, Sam, or wherever, okay? Just somebody that you think is awesome and being a great human. So the next question comes from Sammy and Brad in Cookstown. We have an 80-year-old home with, didn't I do that already? Yeah, I did that already. Let me see here. Oh, that's the wrong question. Not bad. I was thrown off with the no selfie stick. Oh, thanks, Junior. um, okay. Sorry, here's Sammy and Brad. We both commuted and worked corporate world Toronto, but have reevaluated everything since COVID. I was thinking of starting my own business, and Brad has some ideas as well. We have a little shed with power that I want to work out of, but Brad doesn't think people will take me seriously. Do you think we need an actual commercial space? Thank you for asking, Sammy and Brad. And it's funny that I just said about commercial not too long ago. To be honest, I don't think you do. Like maybe in the future, but I don't obviously know what your business is. So I think you should build it up first and like get your feet wet, what have you. I don't know if you left your jobs. You said you reevaluated, but I don't know if you guys have officially left your jobs. But say you keep your jobs, you do this like little side hustle and you do a few hours every night or on weekends or what have you, and then do it in your shed or what have you. And then if need be, then you can get a commercial space. But there's tons of like actually really, not to say huge businesses, but decent sized businesses that don't have a storefront or a face like that. So I don't think you need it. Maybe Brad, it's an ego thing or I don't know. But I don't think you need it right now. But thank you for asking and good luck with whatever it is. Oh, hi Morgan, how are you? Yay. Morgan was one of our winners on Monday. Morgan, you can nominate whoever you like for February and we'll knock on somebody's door on March 1st or two people like we did the other day. Morgan is crazy awesome and he does like podcast stuff and is always doing motivational stuff on his Facebook. So he is cool and you guys should check him out right there. It says Morgan Robson Jr. Hi Kim, how are you? Okay. So the next thing is, again, you guys can ask questions in here if you want. If not, I will just answer other people's questions that have come in through the week. So the next little bit is you're never too old. So there was this guy, I forget, I have to look at his name. I think it was Lloyd. That you're never too old. And I believe it was Lloyd Black. Yeah, Lloyd Black. So he joined a gym a year ago, which you might think big whoop-de-doo-dah. But he was 90 when he joined. So never too old, and now he goes 3 times a week, and obviously it's not in Canada because our gyms are not open. I think he was in Arkansas or somewhere. And now he like helps other people do weights and machines and stuff, and he bikes and he weightlifts and he goes on the treadmill, and basically he said he was having a hard time with household chores, so he realized that after 90 years he should start taking up and looking into weightlifting. So that's what he did. Instead of just saying like, oh, I'm too old or whatever, he's just like, no, I can do it. And he wasn't ready to give up. So he went after it and now he's all fit. And actually the cute thing I like is that he wears his overalls to the gym because he said his pants fall down a lot. So he wears overalls. I am doing amazing. Thank you, Morgan. Hi, Emily. How are you? Okay. What's the next question? Again, you guys can ask questions in there if you want. Otherwise, I will do the ones that people ask during the week. So the next question is from Chris in Midhurst. Chris said, I saw your mortgage giveaways on Monday, and I think it's very admirable. Thanks. I was wondering if there's anything that makes you pick someone or another and what the whole process actually entails. Thank you, Chris, for asking. So yeah, people can nominate and they either send us a video like this or they write a written submission. So for example, Martina that won, her niece nominated her and it was a written submission. And Morgan, who won, who is on here, he was nominated by somebody on the street, and that person did a written submission and a video submission. So you could do either. And then how we pick somebody is basically we have like a Google document with everybody's entries, whether it's the written or the video. And then my whole team looks at it. And then we have a group chat and we just like talk about it the night before until like midnight of who we think should win and decide and put our votes and so forth of who we think is the best candidate and most deserving. So that's what we do. But thank you for asking. And again, the winner has to live in Simcoe County if you wanted to nominate somebody, and they do have to be over the age of 18. But thanks for asking. Okay. The next thing is when people think of people in jail, you probably think of like mean or rough, maybe, I don't know, scary, I don't know. But you probably don't think of like book clubs and scholarships. So in California, there is a school that goes in once a month to a jail, and they have this program, and it's called Exercises in Empathy. And basically, it's a book club. So they give them all a book to read, and then they come back a month later and they talk about it. So one year they did, in 2016, a book called Miracle of the River, and I'm going to say this wrong, Kwai. I don't know how to say that. And so there was two fellows that read it in the book club. One was named Jason and one was named Ted. Jason was serving 26 years for armed robbery, and it didn't say what Ted was serving. But basically, after reading that book, they both decided they wanted to start a scholarship. So they started to like promote outside, of keeping kids out of jail and keeping them in school and so forth. So every single year they give a scholarship. So they gave $32,000 this year, and it went to a boy that his dad needed a heart transplant but didn't have insurance. And because obviously insurance in the States is different and medical care, etc. And then his mom was in a car accident and lost majority of her sight, so she couldn't work. She was laid off. So they gave him that money. And since 2016, the one fellow's actually been let out, the Jason guy, and now he's the CEO of a nonprofit, and they help with schooling, with career development, like help them with their resumes, and so forth, so they don't reoffend. So I thought that was awesome. He did 20 of his 26 years. Oh no, somebody's calling me. Sorry. So yeah, anyways, I thought that was cool because I like things like that. Let's see who the next question is from. Paula from Barrie. I recently got out of a toxic relationship, but we have 2 kids together, so I am continuously having to see him for drop-off and pickup. I always feel like if my confidence is at a 7 or an 8, that it's right back to 0 after I see him. How can I stop him from getting in my head? Thank you, Paula, for asking. Something that I would do, whether it's from him or bosses or outside things or whatever, I would do a journal. So let's just say he says, it is amazing. I know there's so much good, Emily, going on. So let's just say your ex says, you're ugly, you're fat, you suck, you are never going to have a real job, nobody's going to want you, whatever. I'd write it on the left side of the page, and then on the right side of your paper, write the opposite. So I'm beautiful, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I have an amazing job that I love. I forget exactly what I said on the other side of the page, but write all the opposite things, and then obviously tear out or cut out that side, or just do it on 2 pieces of paper, and then just read that side continuously. So because it's whatever's in your head, right? So whatever's in your head is eventually you're going to attract and so forth. So if you are always telling yourself good things, even if somebody's telling you negative, if you're telling yourself good things, then that'll bring good to you. And there was a study years ago, I wasn't planning on telling you this, but I just thought of it. And it said for every 13 bad things, for every one bad thing, I lied. For every one bad thing that somebody says or you tell yourself, you need to have 13 good things said to you. So it can be yourself reading them back, or it can be somebody else telling you, but so it's not like 1 for 1. You do have to put way more good in to offset the bad, okay? So just be conscious of it, because if you're not getting it from someone else, get it from, yourself telling yourself, or podcasts, or YouTube channels or whatever. Just listen to positivity. Just like if you watch YouTube and it scrolls on to watch something else. So if you're watching horrible things, it's going to think you want to see more horrible things, and it's going to tell you those things on the right. But if you are always watching good things, it's going to tell you other good things that you want to watch, and your mind's kind of the same. So it's going to keep wanting to bring in good things and attract good people to you. So I would suggest that. Hi, Anthony. How are you? Anthony is who nominated Morgan. Morgan is on here, Anthony. That is absolutely true, Emily. Love words of affirmation. I am, and then saying whatever best things you can say about yourself, for sure, to embed that in there. So thank you, Paula, for asking. So another happy news. I know, Anthony, I don't know if you care, but you missed the real estate stuff. But puppy love, because I love puppies. In California, there was a family and they lost their retriever. He was 12 years old. So he was working from home, and obviously it's COVID, etc. So he just felt like kind of in the dumps. So he put like a little ad, almost like a Tinder ad, but he asked if he could walk people's dogs or play with them in their backyard. So he had over 420 people respond to him. And obviously, he couldn't really visit 420 places, but he ended up picking six close to his home. So now every week he goes and visits those six dogs and gets his affection from puppies that way until he gets his next retriever. But I just thought it was cute because the people are just helping him feel better and lending their puppy. That's actually one reason why I like living in this condo, because I can get my puppy love in the hall. Anyways, that was actually all I was going to say. So I hope you guys are amazing. And again, nominate whoever you like for March's giveaway. If, for example, you nominated somebody for February's giveaway and they did not win, you are welcome to nominate them again. Our lady last year, I don't recall her name. I remember exactly what she looks like, and her daughter and her husband, but I forget her name. But she was nominated 3 months in a row, and then she won. So just because you nominated somebody and they didn't win, don't be, all depressed and so forth. You can still nominate them again if you think they are deserving. Again, stay safe, stay kind, have an amazing evening, a great week, and take care of one another. Bye, guys.